No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonium. This world will fall, like all the others. For Darkseid.
In 2017, a version of the movie Justice League released, and it was definitely proven to be messy. Mainly because the main version of the film made by Zack Snyder was all but overwritten by another director in Joss Whedon, and what was presented on screen was just meh, at best. However, justice, pun intended, was eventually served, and in 2021, Zack Snyder's Justice League released and proved that Snyder should have just been left to do his own thing. While the future of his own DCEU is up in the air, there's nothing wrong with speculating about what could happen. So allow us to show you the top 9 things to expect in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 9. A small recap of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Given that there are 2 versions of Justice League out there, the terrible version and the true version, it's fine that you might have some details mixed up in regards to what happened in the film. So allow us to give you a small recap. In the film Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman assembled the League to go and fight Steppenwolf, and in the process bring Superman back to life. They came together just in time because they not only fought off Steppenwolf, but saved the day right before Darkseid showed up to try and make his claim to Earth. At the end, the various League members went on their own ways with the promise of coming together again as they knew their fight was far from over. They teased a lot about what might happen, and that means there's a lot of potential for what could happen in the sequel, which Zack Snyder has already admitted to having written out and planned. So let's detail some of it, okay? Number 8. We'll use the old ways. One of the biggest differences by far in Zack Snyder's Justice League compared to the theatrical version was that of Darkseid. Snyder knew that Darkseid was the endgame for his planned trilogy, and he made sure to include him in various ways in the first movie. The initial plan for him, though, was for the Mother of Boxes to ravage Earth, and then he would arrive to go and claim his prize. More on that in a bit. But obviously the League stopped him, and thus he told Desaad that they would use the old ways. Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 would likely build upon that and focus at least a part of the film on the armada and army that Darkseid would build to go and try and take Earth by force. This would also allow us more time to spend not just with Darkseid, but Desaad, Granny Goodness, who was based on an ant of a person on set, no joke, and perhaps even Darkseid's son in Kalibak. These new gods are key parts of DC Comics lore, and Snyder knows that, so they would get more time in the spotlight for sure. As would the endgame prize. Number 7. The Anti-Life Equation. The Anti-Life Equation was another thing removed from the theatrical version of the film, but is in fact the main goal of Darkseid in the comics in various ways. To explain its true power is, well, very tricky. But to put it basically, it's an equation of the universe that can be used to prove that life is meaningless and that you must serve a certain someone. Darkseid. You have to serve Darkseid. It was this equation that Darkseid used to take over much of the universe in Final Crisis, the legendary and legendarily confusing DC Comics event. We know via a certain set of scenes that Darkseid is going to get it at least once, infect Superman and cause a literal nightmare. But how that comes to play in full is still unclear, but the sequel would flesh that out. Number 6. Father and Son. No matter what you say or think about Zack Snyder, you have to admit that he goes and plans things pretty far in terms of his storylines. For example, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, we find out that Lois Lane is pregnant. A big step for the Man of Steel. We know that she's pregnant by the end, and apparently in Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, she would have been close to giving birth to him. This would have heavily focused Superman's story into asking himself what kind of a father he'd be, as well as him coming back to the world as a whole and trying to make sure that the world is safe for his son. We're already getting a great Superman is a dad storyline via Superman and Lois, but this would be a twist in that we're seeing him in the earliest stages of that. Plus, we know it's gonna go wrong due to number 5, Nightmare Begins. Here's the thing, Zack Snyder absolutely planned his stories ahead when he was making the outline for his 3 Justice League films, and we know for a fact that the second film is where everything is going to go wrong somehow. So in short, Darkseid is going to come to Earth sometime in this movie, and when he does, Superman will ask Batman to keep Lois at the Batcave in order to keep her safe. Batman will fail as Darkseid will use his Omega beams on her, killing her and setting up Superman to get infected with the Anti-Life Equation. What leads up to that point, though, is yet to be discussed, and that's something that will get fans eager to watch. Because we know the fall is coming, but how will it lead to what we know will happen? How will it lead to number 4, The Nightmare? Easily one of the most intriguing parts of Zack Snyder's tapestry was showing that his heroes failed, and to be clear, he did that long before Endgame did their 5-year time jump. that something happened to their world and created a wasteland where only a few lucky heroes survived, Batman being one of them. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, we got more of an inside look at all that had remained, and who had survived, and some curious characters were alive in one form or another. Mira was alive but swearing vengeance against Superman for Lois. Cyborg and Flash were the only other remaining members of the Justice League, as we saw a vision that Wonder Woman had died and was buried by her mother, and of all people, Deathstroke and Joker were alive and working with Batman. The question here is, what next? Zack Snyder told many that the point of the nightmare sequences was to set up the rewind in the past that allows Lois to live and Superman to help lead humanity against Darkseid. But at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, they were discovered by Superman and things didn't look good for him. We know that Batman was taking them to someone in the Nightmare Lands to get help, but who? That's the question, and it's one that many would love to see answered should a sequel be brought to life. Number 3. Martian Manhunter. Zack Snyder knows that the Justice League is more than just 6 characters, and at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, we got to meet one of the 7 in the form of Martian Manhunter. He was there earlier, but this was his true introduction. John Jones had come to Batman to let him know that things weren't done with Darkseid and that they would need to be ready for what's coming. He wants to help them now after being in the shadows for so long, and so the next movie would give him plenty of time to mingle with the other Justice League members and help them prepare for more. Plus, in the comics, the Martian race were connected to the anti-life equation in their own way, so perhaps he can help with that too. Number 2. Green Lantern. This one hurts, because Zack Snyder's Justice League was supposed to introduce the Green Lanterns of John Stewart and Kilowog to Batman at the end of the movie to let him know that there are allies amongst the stars that would come and aid him when Darkseid arrives. But Warner Brothers nixed that idea, and as such, we've only gotten glimpses of Wayne T. Carr in Green Lantern garb. If Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 comes out though, Snyder confirmed he would have had him in there, as well as in the third movie to tie things together. Number 1. United. Finally, and arguably most importantly, we'll have a chance to see a Justice League movie where the Justice League is truly united for longer than a few scenes. Yes, we know that they'll fail by the end of movie 2, but to see them as a team first and not just a collection of warriors will be fun. Plus, you know that Zack will go and give them all storylines to enjoy throughout the film, and that alone is worth the price of admission. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the potential of Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and all that just might go into it? Do you think that this is honestly a possibility in terms of WB admitting they were wrong and giving Zack Snyder the budget to make it happen? Or will they pull a Snyder Cut and make the fans annoy them to death until they capitulate? Will we have to do this all over again and beg them to make the movie that we were waiting for? Beg them to make the movie that was already made? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.